Hi, I'm Michael Wargo, team pilot with Hobbyking, and today we are doing a pilot's perspective video on the Viper, the 64mm Viper EDF. This whole series is trying to help you have the most successful first flights that you possibly can and help you get the most out of this model. So what we're going to do is we're going to give you an idea of what to look for before your first takeoff, what to expect from the model, and how to get some really nice advanced maneuvering out of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fly it, I'm going to maiden it, I'm going to step you through all of it, give you the do's and don'ts for every part of the flight envelope, and then I usually try to push it to its limits and then tell you what its limits are. And if anybody's going to take any risks, it'll be me, and that will make sure that you keep it safe and don't try anything that the plane cannot do. So anyway, we're going to take it up now, and we're going to do a maiden flight, and we'll see how it goes. We set all the surfaces flat, check them to make sure they're all going in the right direction, set the flaps up just like the manual, and set the CG like the manual. From there, we can make any adjustments we want. In the end, I'm going to share all of my settings with you so you know how I fly it and the way I like to fly it most comfortably. Okay, so now we are ready for the maiden flight. A few things to note: make sure the CG matches the manual. Number two, we want to make sure that the flaps match the manual.
Take flaps off.
You might want to consider taking off with half flaps if you're in a short field, but for a maiden flight, I always just like to leave them off just in case there's some anomaly with it. I started with some settings, you know, Expo and all these kind of things that I used in a similar plane before. So I've checked all the surfaces, everything going in the right direction. These are all very simple, basic checklists. For a first flight, sometimes, you know, I always recommend that you take off on high rates just in case it goes up a little slow or you lose a little power or something like that. You have all the available control in case you need it. But on a first flight with a small jet especially, I don't see much of a problem with you taking off in low rates. Okay, so now we are ready for the maiden flight. A few things to note: make sure the CG matches the manual. Number two, we want to make sure that the flaps match the manual.
Take flaps off.
You might want to consider taking off with half flaps if you're in a short field, but for a maiden flight, I always just like to leave them off just in case there's some anomaly with it. I started with some settings, you know, Expo and all these kind of things that I used in a similar plane before. So I've checked all the surfaces, everything going in the right direction. These are all very simple, basic checklists. For a first flight, sometimes, you know, I always recommend that you take off on high rates just in case it goes up a little slow or you lose a little power or something like that. You have all the available control in case you need it. But on a first flight with a small jet especially, I don't see much of a problem with you taking off in low rates. Now there's a couple things that I like to do, especially with the smaller jets, and that is I like to set up a rate that is extremely low. Like I have my high rates and low rates that you'll see in my at the end of the video. I'll show you the rates that I'm using. But what I also do is, I think for the first flight, sometimes it's necessary to get maybe an extremely low rate. Like take your low rate and cut it by 20 or 30%, just in case you have an issue with it being just a little too twitchy. Having a little less control will help you relax and just, fly through the anomaly. The other thing I like to do is potentially tone down the nose steering. But the problem is you need all the available steering in order to be able to turn around on the runway. So what I like to do is take the rudder and really bump up the expo for that first flight. That way you're not going like this down the runway, you can keep it nice and straight. There's a lot of reasons why this jet might want to veer to one side. One of the wheels could be pulling a little bit or a little out of line or something like that. But the trick here is to line it up with the runway. I'm going to line it up on this side and drive across the runway a little bit. It's your choice if you want to put it dead on the center line. Sometimes it gives you a little extra confidence if you know if it goes anywhere, all you have to do is use rudder to one side. And that's why I would do it. In other words, sometimes as you're steering, especially when it's coming towards you, you might be second guessing, especially if you're a little newer, second guessing the direction. And then if you go the wrong way, you'll be fishtailing. This way, right as it starts, if it's listing left, you're safe. If it's listing right, you only have one direction to go, left. And if you oversteer it, it's fine. It's still in the same direction. It's just a tip, just a trick. You don't have to do it. Fly it your own way. But the last little bit of information I've given you 100 times before: leave the plane on the ground, take off with a lot of speed, don't yank the elevator, let it lift off by itself. And here we go. All right. I added a little bit of elevator and it jumped off a little quicker than I wanted to. Just trimming it out a little bit now. And still need some more down elevator. There we go. This point is flying very straight. So I'm gonna, try and guide it somewhere. That's something I really like to do on a maiden is try and put it where you want it. Do not make radical movements and turns. This aircraft has pretty quick ailerons. So at this point, you can go down to low rates and make sure you have all the control you need. Pull an up line. We're going to go at 45 to check the CG. It is a little nose heavy right now, which means it's going to land a little faster. But it's performing pretty well. I even have a knife edge mix in there from the last Viper. That, I like to test that stuff early, but you don't have to, of course. Now, another big thing with the maiden is now that you're familiar with it and everything is kind of working and it's flying just fine, this plane does not have a gyro. So what we want to do is check the flaps to make sure the plane isn't going to radically rise or anything like that. And if it does, of course, we're going to put some down elevator in with the flap setting just to make sure it does what it's supposed to do. So we're going to try first flaps.
Takeoff flaps.
And my settings from the last Viper seem to be pretty good. It's barely nosing down, which I kind of like. I like to put in a little up elevator. Now we're going to go to full flaps.
Landing flaps.
And that might require a little up elevator. It's pulling down. But for right now, it's okay. And I'll make a couple clicks.
Flaps off.
And I will fix that. It'll need just a couple clicks less down elevator, I think. Okay, now we're going to discuss landing a plane like this with flaps. Generally with an EDF, We want to do a pass to make sure the gear are down, but this is fixed landing gear. And then we're going to hit first flaps. First flaps are going to help slow the aircraft down, especially a really fast EDF. Okay? Now right here when we're getting to base, we're going to switch to full flaps.
Landing flaps.
And we're going to bring it around. And as you can see, we're doing a pretty long approach, long and low. And that is the key. Keep the power on. And now we can cut the power now. Hold the nose up and let it slow down. Now, this is very important. Cutting the power completely with an EDF isn't exactly something I am a proponent of. I like keeping the power on. If you are coming into a headwind, always keep a little power on. If you are flying a faster, heavier, a bigger EDF that isn't really floaty, you are going to have to land with a little bit of power. Obviously, this plane's got some power. Love these nice tight turns. My suggestion with these is always to not fly at full speed very much, because if you do, it will puff the battery. They draw a lot of amps. They are power hungry. So give the battery a break. I can also tell you this, one of my favorite things to do with an EDF, and I don't even know why to this day, is come in very hot and then cut the throttle in front of me. So we're going to come in full throttle, full speed. And break away. Well, this plane is definitely doing very well. It's got a lot of pep, a lot of power. In this case, I am actually flying it with an HV battery, so the performance is probably a little bit better. Nice upline. It's at the end of the battery though, so. Again, to make a model like this look good, the key is to fly something of a routine. It is also really, really cool and really, really helpful to fly in such a way that the plane looks good. A small EDF must be flown like this with tighter movements. Bigger air maneuvers, it always looks good because the plane is small. So we're going to go up over the top. Let's try a nice big loop.
Flight mode 3.
It's holding knife edge really well. So maybe we'll come down, maybe we'll do a little knife edge circle, see how that, see how it holds up. Kind of have a tight field here, but we're gonna do it anyway. Bring it down, over. I think I'm going to have to adjust the rates a little bit. It feels a little twitchy because there's a lot of elevator and aileron control. As you can see, the roll rate is really good. Maneuvers like that, instead of just being done willy-nilly, look a lot better if we do them coming down the runway. So we just get it rolling. Of course, added a little rudder, that's why it looked a little wobbly. Plenty of power. Okay, now that we've done a little dialing in, I've got a little mixing in it. We have flown it, got an idea of what it feels like. We're gonna go up again. Try a little inverted pass here. It holds very, very nice. You know, one thing I really like about this jet is it really does have a really good climb out rate. I mean, I really, really like that.
Flight mode 3.
I'm gonna try a little knife edge pass. The jets, I like to do it right to left, or left to right. All right. So now we're going to test its performance a little bit. We're going to try a little knife edge pass, see what it looks like and feels like. Not too bad. Let's try it right to left. One thing I've always liked about the Vipers and that kind of thing is they do want to hold knife edge pretty well. Yeah, it's doing nice. It's doing well. CG. Nice. Okay, here is my rates. They are 100%, 49% on the aileron for high rates.
Flight mode 2.
Mid rate is 75 and 35%.
Flight
Low
mode
rates is 50% and 20%. For
Flight
the
mode
elevator, high rate is 130%.
Flight mode 2.
Mid is 75 and 25.
Flight mode 1.
Low rate is 50% and 20%.
Mode 3.
Rudder is 100%, 27%.
Flight mode 2.
Mid is 70%, 24%.
Flight mode 1.
Low is 50% and 16%. Flap settings, position 0 is at minus 100. Position 1 is minus 55% with 3% down elevator. Position 2 is at 0% and 10% down elevator. I set the speed at 3 seconds. Here are my mixes. Rudder aileron is 7.5% on the left side and 2.5 on the right. Rudder elevator is minus 9.5 on the left and 1 on the right. Okay, in closing, like I said, this is a wonderful first jet. It's a great second jet, third jet, fun flying jet, whatever it is that you're looking for. It's a really nice aircraft. When you set it up properly, which of course you've seen my settings, this thing will do pretty well. I mean, it knife edges like crazy. The point rolls are really nice. I think, like I said, you should have a very easy time with this jet because this jet is docile. It's docile, it's easy to fly, it's not twitchy, and if you put a flight control system in it or a gyro, I think you'll be even happier. So anyway, happy flying.